Since 2025, I cash collected $43,648.32 with cold emails alone. Now, majority of that came from the last 2 months, $21,000, around like that, because finally I cracked the code. And in this video, I will talk about the 3 biggest lessons or principles I learned from Alex Hormozi by reading 2 of his books and watching a bunch of his content around cold outreach. And how I'm going to teach you guys this basically is going to be absolutely simple, because not so long ago, my homie started his first cold email campaign, and before he didn't really make any money with cold emails, so there is a bunch of mistakes that he is doing. And in this video, I outlined 3 of the biggest mistakes that he has done, and I'm going to show you why that's a problem, and not just show you why that's a problem, but what kind of changes you can make to this to actually succeed with your cold email campaign, because probably you're making similar mistakes as well, and that's why you're not really able to close those clients. But if you really focus on these mistakes that he's making and really try to understand the persuasive principles I will teach you based on those mistakes, then I bet my life that you're going to be closing clients in 1 or 2 weeks with this. So let's just get into it. As you guys can see, there are the 3 mistakes, exactly the line from his copy. What is the mistake? What did I learn from Alex Hormozi, which proves that this is a huge mistake from one of his books or somewhere else? Most of them are the 100 million offers book from that. And what kind of other principle you need to use. And from there, here I'm going to write all of these lines again, so you guys understand how to make it actually work in cold email. So let's talk about the first mistake, which is this line. And I want you guys to really think about what could be the problem here. So, went down a rabbit hole with your content yesterday, watch for 40 minutes straight, lol. This is the line. Now, I have to say this is a really good idea. Like, hey, what we are doing is appreciating what they are doing and we are praising them. And this is a really good idea. I really like it. Like, there is specificity here, like 40 minutes straight lol. There are some good things in here. But there is one huge mistake. I don't know if you guys see what I see, but for me specifically, this line, went down a rabbit hole with your content yesterday, just doesn't make sense. And the big problem he's making is that he's writing subjective copy. Because the person who is reading this can think about a rabbit hole with my content yesterday. That can mean that it's absolutely trash. It can mean it's absolutely banger good content. It can mean whatever. And that's the problem. You cannot do this in any of your lines, in any of your copy. And specifically, Alex Hormozi says, when people read your message, they should instantly understand what you do and how it helps them. If they have to think, you have already lost. And this is the problem with subjective copy. Now, it doesn't mean that you're doing this when you're praising someone, but in any shape or form, it could appear in your copy as well, when something can be understood subjectively and it's not objective what you're saying. And the 2 times this can really happen is when you're just writing something like this, which is really just subjective, but the other time is where you're writing with words which not every single person understands. Because as Alex Hormozi said, they should immediately understand what you mean and why and how it helps them. If they have to think, you're already lost. And that's the same problem. That's why you have to write on a 5th grade level, and that's what really helps you to make better copy. So this is the first mistake, and I want you to keep this in your mind, because we are going to talk about the principle that can help you solve this, and specifically in this scenario. But let's go to the second mistake, which is going to be this line. I noticed you've got solid engagement on your IG as well, which probably means your DMs are pretty busy. Now, what could be the problem with this? Again, I have some ideas what he's doing here, which is like, okay, I just praise them in some shape or form, but now, I have to pitch them something. I have to do something in my email copy. And he writes this line, which is, you got a solid engagement on the IG as well, which is, I think, pretty fair. There's no problem, which I see with this. But this, which probably means your DMs are pretty busy. Like, 2 mistakes, but there is one which is absolutely huge, which is that is just a sales ass copy, like salesy. Like, don't try to hard sell so much in your email copy, because people know that if you have sent an email, most likely you're trying to sell them something in any shape or form. So writing something like, which probably means your DMs are pretty busy, it's like people immediately understand that, hey, you're trying to sell me something, and they just get angry about this. It's not a good idea. And this is how Alex Hormozi written it in the 100 million offers, which is like, you can't convince people to buy. You can only make them want to. And the best sales happen when the prospect convinces themselves. That's right. Like, it makes sense. But what you're trying to do here is you're trying to give them a problem so you can solve that problem. And this is another mistake people do, which I haven't written here, but now I'm going to write it down with you guys, is that you're supposing. Don't suppose what their problem is. Never suppose. This can be their problem, but if it's not, then you are immediately comes off as just you're trying to sell them something, and that's a huge problem. So never suppose, never do this, because how it seems, it's like you're trying to create a problem in their current situation so you can sell them something. Don't do that. And we are going to talk about how to solve this in the next part of the video. Now let's talk about the third mistake, and this happens in multiple lines, not just in one, and that's why we have multiple lines now shown. So the first one, I put together a quick 2-minute loom showing exactly how it works and what it could look like for you. So right here in between there is a offer sentence, and I don't want to share his offer. Maybe some of you want to steal it, so I'm not going to allow you guys to do that. So here is the offer statement, and here there is the next line, which is I put together a quick 2-minute loom, but here's another line at the end, and here there is a loom link, which is like, if you're looking to automate parts of your business or scale your appointment flow, I would love to show you what's possible. Now you kind of got what is the niche from this, but that doesn't matter. Here in these two lines, there are two or at least one major problem, and I don't know guys if you see it as well. Do you guys see it? That's the question. So I will tell you what I think is the main problem. And it's like, you're not reasoning it enough for me to take any action. I can go on a rant about this. It's not tangible. It's not really a good reason for me to actually click and do something. But overall, it's just leaking, like, there is no pressure in this email, which is like, you're not writing in a form where if I don't do the action in the copy, if you do not click on my loom or something like that, I am missing out on something. Now it's very hard to do it correctly. I can give you an example afterwards, but this is the problem. There is no pressure. There is nothing really in me that would really make me click on this. And so the reasoning is bad. And in the 100 million offers, I remember in chapter 6, the make it no-brainer, in this, Alex Hormozi writes this. If you give people a good reason to do something, they will. The problem is most people don't give any reason at all. Now, in the book from Robert Cialdini, I don't know how to pronounce his name, he talks about influence. You have read about the book. Potentially you know the book. That's the best book I can say to you guys to read for persuasive writing. There is a perfect example for this. There was a line in a library for a fax machine or whatever it was, doesn't matter. There was a line here. People were waiting here. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. There was people waiting in the line. And what happened is there was someone at the back of the line trying to get in front by asking people to, hey, allow me to go in front of you. And they did multiple test variations. There was especially 3 tests. One of them was, hey, I have to get in front of you because I'm in a rush. And this is a really good reason why you should allow me to get in front of you. I'm in a rush. I'm going to be late for X, Y, and Z. And this had a 94% approval of getting in front of someone else. This was the first test. The second test was, hey, just let me go in front of you. nothing else, just let me go in front of you. There was no reasoning. And here there was something like about 30 to 40% of approval. I think even less than that, I'm not sure, something like that. But there was the third test, which was the most interesting one, is that these people used the reason, which was the reason of, do you please allow me to get in front of you because I want to get in front of you. No, it was because I have to fax something, meaning I have to use the machine. It was a bullshit reason, because we are in the same line to do the same thing. He had the same reason, which is like, hey, please allow me to go in front of you because I have to fax something. Like, all these people wanted to do the same thing. Guess what was the rate for approval? It was 93%. And that's just absolutely diabolical. 93%, because they said a reason. They justified what they were saying. So that's a huge problem. So please be aware that don't do this mistake, because potentially it can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. You always have to justify what you're saying. And here there was no justification, which potentially could lose like thousands and thousands of sales and clients for you. So with these mistakes talked about, let's talk how to actually solve these by me showing you these persuasive principles, then walking over how would I rewrite it, and potentially if I have some other example in my head, then telling you guys that, so you guys understand how to write much better persuasive copy. So let's talk about this subjective copy. How would I solve this specific problem, which is, let's write it down here. Went down a rabbit hole. Let me copy it quickly. Hole yesterday with your content yesterday. Watched for 40 minutes straight. Lol. Please be aware, guys, that I keep these videos a bit raw, so I can teach you as much as I can possibly. So yes, so how could we make this better? And this specific line, and this is the persuasive principle I want you guys to learn, which is a unique compliment. And let's break it down. Let's break down the unique and let's break down the compliment. A compliment is basically something that breaks their ego. Now, I can talk about this for a bunch of time in a different video. If you guys want, comment it down. But specifically, when you're reaching out to a business owner, a creator, a coach, consultant, something like that. That's my niche, and this guy's niche was YouTubers who are selling info products and these sorts of things. Now, if you guys want to work with those types of people, I have a perfect outreach system which you can use. If you want to check that or work with me one-on-one for us to, make your cold outreach system better, book a call. But with this problem, with these people, what happens is that they have a high ego. Me as well included, because I'm a YouTuber. Whatever, doesn't matter. So the ego problem is that you're reaching out to me, I am standing above you. There is a podium in their mind. Like, oh, you're reaching out to me, that means I'm here and you're down there. So if you say something to me which doesn't really sound good for my ears, I'm like, okay, my ego turns on and I'm going to diss you, I'm going to say you're trash, and I'm going to think those two sorts of things. Not exactly, saying to you or replying to you, but they're going to think that, and they just don't care about you. So with a compliment, what we are doing is we are building their ego, where, hey, I'm not trying to sell you, no, I actually like what you're doing. So they now think of us as, hey, this is a cool guy. Of course, if you're doing it correctly. And that's why this is a problem, which is one of the fact is that somewhat this is, okay, let's stop here for a second, because that's the second point I want to talk about, which is unique. Now, you can have a good compliment, which is not subjective like this, because this is really subjective, doesn't exactly mean this is a good compliment. But what problem you can run into is your compliment is not unique. If they already have seen thousands of times that, hey, your content is so good, or oh my god, this is so good, like, oh bro, this is just so good, they don't care. They have seen it dozens of times. You're never going to stand out, and their ego is not going to be broken down into pieces. So that's why you need to have a unique compliment, because when something is unique, you build much more trust and these sorts of things. The last video which I have created, which you can check at the end of this video, it will appear in a card or the link in the description, talks about specifically this, and with how can you write very persuasive copy using your personality. But with that said, let's talk about how would I rewrite this piece of content. So what I would do is think about a unique compliment for this niche. Okay, this niche is, just assume they are creators, let's assume they are coaches on YouTube. This is the niche who I'm reaching out to. The question becomes, how could I write a unique compliment for these people which would build down their ego? So I would say, what problems are they really suffering with on YouTube, or what they are doing which they are proud of? Let's think about what are they proud of, these people. If I can think about what they are proud of, potentially they are going to think that, hey, Robert, like, if you touch on the proud point, they're going to love you as well, if that makes sense. And I know for a fact that people are proud of the value they share on their YouTube channel. So this is what I can play with. And now some of y'all would be like, this, which is your video, your video was so valuable. Oh my god. And blah blah blah. Like, don't do this. This is again a mistake. Like, this is a big X. Like, do not do this. This is not unique. But if I understand that they want to hear how valuable their video is, we can think about something unique. So I'm going to just test it. Maybe it's going to take some time, but let's think about how can I talk about value here. Let's say I have no clue what specific niche this is, because if this would be a fitness, let's say fitness niche or something like that, I could be more specific about how can I talk about this. But if I don't know, I would say something on lines of, I came up with a really good line. This could be perfected, but this is a really good line. Yesterday your vid glued me to my chair, man. This is unique, like a unique compliment. Like, they are like perfect, like they understand what this means. And I said that the value per minute is crazy in that. Who the freak would say this in a sales copy for them? No one. That's why it's really unique, and you just get their trust, their ego is down. It's not that, they cannot categorize you as a random email copy. Like, a copy that's like, oh my God, trying to sell me something. Like, you can now use this line. If you're doing this for coaches, creators, try this line. This is not perfect. I think there could be ways to make it better if I would spend 5 to 10 minutes perfecting this, but this is really good. So this is the first way to solve the first problem, which is subjective copy and building down the ego with a unique compliment. If you use this correctly, you're going to have such a persuasive copy. It's incredible. But let's go and talk about the second mistake, which is sales as copy and you're supposing. So what kind of persuasive principle do I want to guys here teach you? And that's absolutely easy, which is non-neediness. Because when people take a look at you that, hey, this guy just really wants to sell me, they're not going to buy from you. When you approach it from a perspective of, I'm not really needing this, but I want to help you because it's cool, then people are more likely to respond. And so let's use this line. I wouldn't change anything on this at the moment, but the second line, which is which probably your DMs are pretty busy. This line specifically, there's a lot to change here, and let's go through that. So, which probably means your DMs are pretty busy. Again, you're supposing, and it's not that good, you're needy. So what I would write, and I have an idea for this already, which would be like, you got solid engagement. I know how it ends, right? You got solid engagement on your IG as well. Or I have to write it out because I will mess it up. You got solid engagement on your IG as well. I've seen you got solid engagement on your IG as well. And here what I would write is, I bet you can keep up with your DMs, lol. And this line is just pure gold. I bet you can't keep up with your DMs, lol. Because if you write this line, this means multiple things. First, if it's true, you seem like a good guy. Because you're just funny, like I bet you cannot keep up with your DMs. You just seem like a good guy. But if it's not true, then what happens is that these people become jealous. Jealous? Do you write like this, jealous? They become jealous. Because this kind of means that with the engagement they are getting, they should be getting a bunch of DMs. So in any shape or form, for yourself, you build positive like emotions on this email, if that kind of makes sense. Because if they are thinking like you're a good guy, or they become jealous of someone else who is potentially getting a bunch of DMs with the engagement that they are getting as well, they become jealous, and then they are more likely to want to work with you. And so this is how I would rewrite this line specifically. So I cannot really talk more about this because I think this really explains like how you shouldn't be salesy as copy or just suppose. Because I didn't say probably means. I didn't suppose. I said it like this, like bet you can't keep up. So I supposed it, but I didn't suppose it in a salesy manner, if that makes sense. Because I know that these people potentially have this problem, and if it's true, I become a good guy, and if it's not true, they become jealous. And so I win in every situation, even though I don't suppose. And so how do we solve the no pressure / reason problem? We have to talk about that. And I'm not going to copy this, I'm going to rewrite this completely. But this, you have to just justify or reason it. It doesn't matter even if the reason is good or bad, but you have to justify, you have to really justify and reason what you're talking about. So how would you do that specifically in this scenario? Now, I'm going to talk about this, and afterwards I'm going to talk to you about a different example I've had with a much different niche with the founders and startup niche of how I have done it, so you guys understand it. So I put together a quick 2-minute loom showing exactly how it works and what it could look like for you. So we are not going to touch about the actual offer he has, but I would write something like this, just for example. I just loved so much what you were up to that I literally recorded a quick 2-minute video showcasing how I already done it for one of your competitors, lol. And yeah, this is like a very long line. We both agree on this. I shouldn't write like this, but this gives you a perspective. I just reasoned it well. I just loved what you were doing, like really. There's a reason, there's a justification. And I mentioned their competitor, and you know business owners are really against their competitors. So as I've said this, people are like, I have to know. I just have to know. But this is just one perspective you can do it. You can approach it from multiple perspectives. And I want to touch on that right now, because in a founder, like we were doing cold outreach for startups with one of my clients. And how do you justify clicking on the loom? in these Loom emails? That was a really good question. So what I have done is I have used a fucking research. So what I have done is you have to justify the click on the Loom, because Looms are what are really selling in these emails. And how I've justified it is I said that, man, I just read literally a case study which could not that which could boost your sales, but which perfectly aligns with what you're doing. And I was so hooked up on that I just had to record a video about it. Bang. Perfect. Like, they have to just click on it. I even mentioned the university which that research came from. It was Stanford University, because I wasn't lying. There was a University of Stanford, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which of how does it look like, but I use that as justification to click on it. And think about the pressure these people have, like a really good research paper from a really good university which can help me, and if I don't do it, I'm missing out on sales with my startup business. They're going to be like, hell yeah, I am clicking on the Loom and we have the opportunity to sell them. And this is similar for you if you're doing a Loom type of outreach, but whatever you're doing, because this is the next problem, because this should be a call to action to reply, I guess. This is what, I don't know why he've written it like that, my homie, but this is an ass line. Let's rewrite it. Because if you're looking to automate parts of your business or scale your appointment flow, I would love to show you what's possible. There is no real justification. I would love to show you what's possible. Who cares? Like, okay, who cares? But you have to be really correct about writing a call to action and just justify why they must do it. I would be like something on the lines of how could I write it? If you're looking to automate parts of your business, no. If I would write something which is, if you really wanna generate, or if you really wanna have more time to scale your business and you haven't, if you really wanna have, no, if you really thought about, if you are, no, I would write this. I know you're serious scaling your company. So I already mapped out 5 different automations that you could use. 5 different automations you could use. Besides the one you've seen in the Loom. So if that would be reply X, Y, and Z. Or you get my point, right? Which is that I, again, don't suppose, I'm not like, you're probably serious about your business. No, I know you're serious about scaling your company. Or we could be like, I know you're serious about like making fuck you money. So I already mapped out 5 different automations that you could use besides the one you see in the Loom. So if that would be cool for you. So if that would be so if you don't like that, I will send you even more. I would be like, I will send you even more. I will just send you, just push you, just more. This is still not like, this is not really good copy. Don't use this, please. Just this one don't use. All the other ones are really good. What I had a different idea for this as well. If you guys are doing Looms and you have a similar situation where you don't know how to justify it, you can talk about, man, I already built a demo for you specifically for your company, your whatever, and I just had to put it in a loom because otherwise I would have to write a 40,000 page book about it. And something like this again justifies really well, like, hey, you have to click on my loom. And so yeah guys, I hope this video was really of value for you. Here you guys can see the video about how to use personality to make a heck a lot more money with cold emails. And thank you so much for watching. See you later.